have about 10 minutes for questions. We'll go a little bit over and end at about 6:35. So we have about 10 minutes for 2 or 3 questions. There are 2 roaming microphones. Please do raise your hand. Back there.
Hi. Yeah. Is it on? Okay. Thank you very much for your talk. I just was struck by the example of the mobile phone, even upside down on the table, and the importance of touch as opposed to sight for communicating compassion. Yeah. And I was wondering if you've noticed any big statistical differences between either individuals or institutions that use an awful lot of technology as a way to mediate human interaction, and whether it affects the feelings of compassion already existing, or whether it affected the training that you offered. And just, is technology helping us connect with more people? Is it actually providing a barrier? Or is it neutral and it just depends on how we use it? All 3 options seem possible to me. And I'm wondering if there's any statistics to help us answer that question.
That is an excellent question, and also something that we have just included in our research proposal, because actually far too few studies exist on that. We definitely know, of course, that lots of the social media also gives us possibilities to help. I was talking today earlier with high school students, and with them the fact that some of us are more shy, that also social media and all of that gives us opportunities to help, even though it would feel uncomfortable, sort of face to face. So that's a good thing. It also enables us to do more. But definitely, some of the studies that have touched upon these issues would have the one and only message that we need the face-to-face interaction. For instance, my colleagues doing wonderful work in Helsinki studying occupational health, and of course flexibility in office hours, that you are able to work at home. It has lots of benefits, but now we are starting, and they are starting to see the drawbacks as well. And also Barbara Fredrickson, who studying the positivity resonance, her main message is for organizations that increase the face-to-face time. So that I think it's really, we need that. And think about our close circles, like children or whatever. I mean, we know that is, at the end, it's still the core of everything. But I think you touch upon something that we definitely need to study more, to show it in numbers as well, that this is the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your talk. So at one point you mentioned how religious organizations teach us that we are compassionate by nature. But how does one reconcile this with the fact that they also teach us that we are guilty by nature, yes, in particular in Christianity? Yes. For if we act out of guilt, we are not being truly altruistic.
Yes, yes. Well, first of all, and here I would cite myself together with psychologists and social psychologists observing the human mind and knowing for a fact that we never have just one motive and we never have just one emotion. And that somehow speaks to me as a Christian person, that I try to be not too harsh on myself when I notice these mixed motives. Or like I used the example of a grant of my colleague, and I would be jealous and all sort of that. I think there's something very demanding but also beautiful in the fact that we are complex creatures, and also and all of the philosophers and systematic theologians here would be able to answer this much better than I am, by the fact and the issue of free will is definitely related to that. We can't be compassionate, or we can only be compassionate if we are given the free will to act, and that of course opens all of the possibilities to act differently. But my core answer would definitely relate to the issue of mixed motives and the fact that they are always there, the black and white. Would some systematic theologian or philosopher like to step in and help me a little here? You would definitely have more insight on that. But that's kind of the empirical fact that we see in human action. But definitely touching up on something very crucial.
Let's have the front row here.
very much. I found that really inspirational. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm very interested in the question you asked right at the end. What do I do when I see somebody show compassion? Because earlier in your talk, you've spoken about how children decline helping once they've been rewarded.
Yeah.
So from wanting to say that was a wonderful thing you did,
That
what would
is-
your recommendation be to keep that compassion going, really, if people might feel like giving it less if they have too much recognition?
Yeah, that is. I was kind of hoping that this question wouldn't come up because
intriguing.
I love the question, and that's exactly because it's a tricky one. I have 2 children at home, 3 and 6 years of age, and I battle with this because I tend to be extreme when they do something compassionate. I'm like, well, not perhaps giving them gifts, but definitely spontaneous reaction from me as well would be like, that is a good thing to do. I think, and I've worked together with some developmental psychologists here, and they say that what we should do is exactly also what we should do when little kids show their drawings to us. Not to analyze it, not to rate it, but state it, that you did this. I can see that there's a police car there, and you spend a lot of time on this. Kind of like analyze and kind of giving the positive feedback on the fact that they spend the time and they took the time. But there is something beautiful in the fact that we spontaneously tend to want to pay the positive or want to kind of congratulate them on that. But it's a tricky business. People need to be, and this relates kind of to the earlier question related to the free will. So I wish I had, both as a scholar and as a mum, I hope that I had a better answer to you, but we are a bit confused, also the developmental psychologist. So yeah. Also volunteers, I visit a lot of NGOs, and they also have this issue of, for instance, sometimes when religious organizations, they have lots of volunteers, and they want to thank the volunteers, and what would be the best way. For instance, I had one elderly lady who was doing wonderful work, and then she had been thanked kind of publicly by her efforts, and she felt so insulted. She had this feeling that, no, they think that I came here because I want to be thanked for something. It's a complex manner. And the most positive experiences that I've had with volunteers, and when they talk about their peak experiences in their religious organizations, is when they have had those spontaneous, everyday moments of feedback. I had this one elderly man in his mid-70s, and I was talking about these peak experiences, and then he started crying. We were just one-to-one there, and he was recalling that years back, the person organizing the activities said during the coffee break that I am important in this community. And he was still recalling that moment years later to an unknown researcher, tears in his eyes. It was such a meaningful moment. So spontaneous acts of connecting and even thanking. But thank you, you are so spot on that it beautifully hurts. Yeah, thank you. And I'm so sorry again for the fact that I spent too much time.
One last question over here.
Is it the case that in Finland you have this interesting experiment on making sure that every adult citizen, regardless, has a guaranteed annual income?
There's an experiment on that, yes, exactly. There's a group of certain percentage of people, a kind of small percentage of people who is currently being explored, so yes.
And would that tie in with your encouragement of compassion?
That's a good question. We actually don't know really yet. I mean, they are being studied and explored at the same time, and their motives, their volunteer work activities, but we don't really know yet. I think there's something beautiful in the idea that we would all get the same, but I wouldn't be able to answer that, not yet. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see whether I can use this one without interfering with you.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Excellent, good. Thank you so much, Anne. We really appreciate you being here. All our lectures are recorded and are available online for free. If you Google James Gregory lectures, they'll come up, and this lecture should go up within the next few weeks for any friends or relatives who are farther away and can't be with us here. The funder, the John Templeton Foundation, has also asked us to provide opportunity for feedback. So you have surveys on your table. If you would like to fill those out and leave them here at the front before you leave, please do so. And please join us for our next James Gregory lecture, whose date I can't remember now. But the speaker will be Joanna Pemberthy, who is the first female Bishop of Wales. And she'll be joining us here again at the same venue at the same time. The invitations will go out and we'll have a date for you on those. It's also on the website. Thank you all very much for coming and have a good evening.
And if I just may say one sentence, if you have some questions, so just email me and I try to answer online. And also if you want to get the slides, so they are all for you to be used and to be expressed. So, but now applause to Judith.